Yeah. So, Fabienne, how are you? I've come across your work on Insight Timer. I've just finishing your course that you've published on love as well. I'm a single bloke and hoping to manifest a partner in the future. How did you come up with these courses on this sort of topic?
Yeah, well, great question. Thanks for having me on the podcast, Stephen.
Mhm.
So, I have two courses on Insight Timer. One of them I actually just recently launched, which is about healing the abandonment wound. And that is something that's really close to my heart because that's something I had experienced myself.
Mm.
And I also have the other one, which is the love one, which was released a couple of years ago now. And so the love one is interesting because it came about. I was at my 30th birthday and I felt as though I had never really experienced a successful relationship.
Mhm.
I had been in lots of relationships and they had ended, for one reason or another. And I never really felt as though I had met that partner that, I could kind of go the long road with. And I was
Mhm.
really deeply looking for that. And so I went on this journey. I decided to commit myself to being a student of love, essentially, during my 30th birthday and birthday year, should I say, and spent that entire year just dedicating myself to that practice of love. And it started out with more of like an egotistical
Mhm.
um, desire of I want a partner, and
Mhm.
it very quickly became this understanding that it was not about a partner and it was actually about myself.
Mhm.
And it was about learning about all of the different elements that make up love, even just down to the fact of, well, where were we shown love in the first instance?
Mhm.
And usually that's from either our parents or our caretakers, the people that are around us show us how to love. And so we're learning that from them. And sometimes that's not always the most healthiest form of love. And so it's great opportunity that when we get a little bit older and we can, think for ourselves and actually make decisions for ourselves to re-look at that
Mhm.
history and that understanding and actually say, well, what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And so the Learning How to Love course was really designed to be about just unpicking all of these things from our past and just coming to that conscious awareness of who am I and what do I believe about love and what am I looking for from love and what's made me see love in this way, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Look, in my experience, I've tried all these dating apps, right? Like eHarmony, Tinder, I don't know, Plenty of Fish, Zeus, Bumble. None of them have worked. And I've tried spiritual singles, so I don't know. Maybe I'm not suited for the virtual dating world. It's not the same. I prefer the old-fashioned way, just to meet in person to talk, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I can really resonate with that. I've been writing a book for the last, like 3 years on this topic. So it's related to my 30th year, where I call it this age of love that I went through. And I talk about, online dating and what that looks like. And for me, that really didn't work. I met a lot of wonderful people from it, but it did not help me. It did not necessarily resonate with me. So I think it's really important to find something that resonates with you. So for example, if you have a specific kind of hobby, then utilize that to meet people. If you are really, like, for example, even, you love to do these podcasts, right? And
Mm,
this is something you do. Maybe you will meet somebody that way.
mm,
I think the most important thing is actually less worrying about where you're going to meet the person or how you're going to meet the person.
mm.
You obviously want to be open to that, but it's more about becoming the person that you want to be. And as soon as I actually gave up this idea about focusing on the other person so much, and then I stopped and I focused much more on myself,
Mm.
that was when things actually flowed so much better with regards to love and that kind of thing. So I would definitely recommend that. It's that lack mentality in a way. If we're like, well, where are they and where am I going to find them, and the dating app doesn't work and this kind of stuff, we're actually just in a lack mentality. And if we can come back to ourselves and go, okay, let me just keep focusing on this vision of exactly what it is that I want to create, then we can bring that in so much easier because we're not worrying about where it's coming from. We're just focusing on exactly what it is that we want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just feel better not using dating apps anymore. Chuck them away, because I was finding I was getting a lot of spam on those things. It's just got weird. If they say that they're going to guarantee your partner, yet it's not happening, as you're paying money for them. I just thought I was starting to compare myself to other people too. So they started throwing me off for being. I just got rid of them.
Yeah. And I think it's always best to go with what resonates with you. And I always think, think about the kind of partner that you are desiring. Where would they be? What would they be doing? Would they be on a date?
No.
Yeah. So then think about that. Where would they be? Would they be resonating with that? And if they wouldn't be resonating with that, then, then go to the places that that they would be resonating with. And that's more than likely where you'll meet them.
Yeah, exactly. One day at a time as well. But I do keep doing the stuff that I love doing, the podcast as well, and my entrepreneurship journey. Tell me a bit about your journey. Are you a meditation teacher on Insight Timer as well?
I wouldn't describe myself necessarily. The work I do on Insight Timer is much more around talking. I love to talk. And I always was wondering before I started this specific journey, people who say to me, oh, you talk a lot, but now actually I have to do that for my job. So it works really well for me. In terms of my work on Insight Timer, I offer a lot of different talks, and I have 2 different courses on there. And I do have a few meditations, but that's not the primary basis of my work. So I am an author, I'm a self-worth coach, and I'm, I guess, like a workshop teacher, instructor, guide, this kind of thing. And so you can find on Insight Timer, my work is around doing a lot of live sessions where I will show up and share, with the group for an hour or so, sometimes more, depends on how much we can get through in that short space of time. I'll share on a different topic. So I talk about a range of different things, from love to trauma, wounds, how we heal from that, techniques and tools and methods that we can use to establish emotional regularity, ways in which we can manifest the life that we are looking for, how we can build our self-worth. So these are the kinds of things that I work on with regards to Insight Timer. As I said, I'm a coach as well, so life coach, but for me specifically focused around overcoming these traumas that we've had in our life and working on self-worth. For me, there's a really deep connection between people that have a lack of self-worth, or they feel that they're not worthy and deserving of the good things in their life. Usually there's a connection to some form of an abandonment wound. And so I work with, let's overcome the abandonment wound, and then we can grow your self-worth, and then we can find love. So it has to kind of go in that process. And I work a lot with attachment styles and attachment theory as well, which is something that I find really, really interesting. So yeah, that's basically me.
I've been enjoying your journaling exercises too on your course as well. There was a book written by Gary Chapman called the 5 Love Languages. I took a quiz this morning after my session with you on the app, but it was quite interesting because what it was coming up with, I am the type of person who likes to, cuddle, hold hands. And he was talking about, do you want your partner to give you gifts as well? So it was quite interesting. Now, is that 100% accurate, Fabienne?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's 100% accurate because I didn't do Gary's work, but I definitely believe in his concept and the way that it came about. So in the course, I talk about this, but the way that it came about with love languages. So Dr. Gary Chapman, he was a family counselor working with couples to overcome the barriers to love, essentially. And every time somebody was coming into his office, he basically realized that what they were saying is that they were just ultimately not receiving love in the way that they desired it. So, we about, oh, this argument or that argument, or, you know, this problem or that problem. But essentially what it is we're not feeling love from the other person. And so our desire is to feel love. And each of us give love in different ways. And we also like to receive love in a certain way. And so what he then discovered was actually if he could look through all of his cases, which he did, he went back through everything, and he discovered that there was 5 main ways in which people like to be loved. Now, if you meet a partner, for example, who loves to receive gifts, and that's how they feel most loved, they will more than likely give you gifts. Now, that may not make you feel loved, because giving gifts is not something that makes you feel loved. So therefore, this person is going to be there giving you so much love, right? From their perspective, giving you all these gifts, right? And you're going to be like, but I just don't feel loved by this person. Because as you said, it sounds like yours is maybe more around quality time, or you mentioned like, you know, affection. So maybe it's more like the physical contact side of things that is really important for you. And so if that's the way you give love, and your partner likes to receive gifts, they might be like, oh, I get lots of physical touch, but he never buys me anything, you know? So it's a really interesting concept, and I've definitely seen how it worked. And one of the things that I, you know, encourage on the course with the journaling activities and stuff like this is to, you know, go back and take a bit of a relationship inventory. So when it comes to something like love languages, take a look back. What kind of style do you think your past partners had? You know, what kinds of style from a love language did they have? And then what do you think you were giving them? And a lot of the time you see where there's the disconnect. And I know for myself in past relationships where I was the type of person that really wanted, so my love languages are quality time and words of affirmation. And if I had ever been, but the words of affirmation for me is number one. And so if I have been in a relationship where that person doesn't understand words of affirmation, they don't find it easy to say I love you, or, you know, you're beautiful, or you did a great job today, or if I'm in a relationship where someone can't do that, for me it's very hard to feel loved by that person. They might be buying me gifts, or they might be doing all sorts of things like acts of service, but that won't resonate because that's not how I like to be loved. Excuse me.
It's everything's different, you know. That's just who I am as a person. Not really fixated on material items as well. It's good to be truthful with yourself.
Absolutely. And the love languages, that's what it allows us to connect with, what makes us feel loved. And there's no right or wrong. You know, Dr. Gary Chapman just recognized that there were 5 main ways. Most of what people are saying when they want to be loved is it comes into one of those 5 categories. And so it's just understanding that those categories exist, those languages of love exist, and then recognizing when you do have somebody in front of you, even if that's not a romantic partner, just a friend or family member, recognizing, actually, I think that they prefer this. So for example, with my mum, I really enjoy words of affirmation. So I give a lot of words of affirmation to others. Works really well in my job as a coach. But my mom actually loves acts of service. So she will love things like that. She also loves gifts. So if I bring her flowers, she's going to feel really, really loved. If I tell her she did a great job this week, that doesn't resonate with her. So just recognizing we can actually play this out before we even get into a partnership. We can play that out with family members and friends as well, and starting to become aware of, okay, how do they like to receive love? And we can usually see that by how they give that love to us.
Exactly. You know, it brings me to my another point about affirmations. I'm doing a sort of 21-day challenge, affirmations challenge, Jason Stevenson, when I'm sleeping, just leave it playing all night as well. I'm almost finished my 21-day gratitude challenge as well. It's been doing my 3 to 10 things every morning on gratitude. It's really amazing. Things are just opening up for being, you know. Have you done any challenges like that?
Well, I'm a big lover of challenges, yeah, and dedicating myself to a certain practice for sure. I think that gratitude is hugely important. And it was probably one of the first lessons I learned on my own self-development journey, actually. When I was 19, I had the privilege of going and spending a month in India, and it was for work purposes. And when I got there, I was first time I'd ever been, sort of anywhere that wasn't like a holiday resort, essentially. And it really opened up my eyes to how other people live, like what other people have and don't have, and just the differences between like what I had in the UK versus there. And for me, it was a huge awakening into gratitude, because many of the people that I saw there, met there, experienced there, they had less than I did, but they were happier than I. And it was so interesting for me. They were really grateful for everything that they had. And it was a big lesson for me right away that, okay, what I have is so much, and you don't always understand that unless you can see a different perspective. And because I had that perspective, I always said to myself, okay, going forward, no matter what, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter where I am, no matter what's happening, I'm always going to be conscious to practice gratitude for what I do have. Because more than likely, the things that I have is potentially more than other people in the world. And actually, I need to be aware of that, and I need to be grateful for that, because we're never going to receive any more if we can't be grateful for what we already have right now. And so for me, yeah, that was a huge awakening. That was kind of when I was 19, really super young, didn't really know much about the world at that point. It was my first traveling trip alone. And so really, really eye-opening for me, and really just like embedded that practice of being grateful. And so I wouldn't say it's necessarily something that I will write 3 to 10 things per day or anything like that, but the way in which I practice gratitude is just continuously throughout my day being grateful for the things that I'm experiencing, the interactions that I have with others, the even just down to small things, the breakfast that I'm eating, the tea that I'm drinking, the fact that I had a good night's rest, things like that. I'm always practicing gratitude and really doing that deeply from the heart. So not just, oh, thanks, but like I'm genuinely grateful that I've been able to have that experience or that thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's interesting, everyone's journey as well, and what you pointed out too. I mean, I've never been to India, but maybe one day I'd like to go and meditate in the mountain. That's where I
Yeah.
prefer to be.
Yeah. India is one of the most amazing places. It like stayed in my heart forevermore. And I adore it. I think it's the most amazing, one of the most amazing places I've ever been, actually.
But are you practicing the law of attraction? Because I do that.
Yeah, I would say that I do practice the law of attraction. It's something that I didn't know necessarily when I was doing it. I've been doing it from quite a young age. I didn't know that that was what I was doing until really, I guess, The Secret came out and made the law of attraction a little bit more mainstream. Although I know that still there's quite a lot of people that don't, understand the concept and how that works. So I definitely do practice the law of attraction. I definitely focus on manifesting. I was literally just running a session on the art of manifesting about 2 weeks ago now on Insight Timer. And it's something that I really love to practice and think is really important and can also offer us really powerful results. But we also have to understand how to use it, how to work with it.
Yeah, it's I remember a quote Jason Stevenson said, "Be careful what you wish for." I'll never forget that.
Yeah. For example, this is an example of being careful of what you wished for. Last year, I was preparing to give up the home that I had in the UK in order to move overseas. And during the time that I was packing up my home and, preparing to leave, I was really excited because I was going to be going around Europe and teaching different classes. And so I was super excited about that. And I was saying, it's just going to be really nice to live out of a suitcase. I'm going to be so free. I'm going to be doing all of these great trips, and I was just like, I was laughing with like my family and friends, you know, I'm going to be this nomad that lives out of a suitcase, just working on my laptop. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And then after that, I was going to go and settle in my like end destination. And then the pandemic hit and all the travel got cancelled. And so I literally had moved out of my house. And then literally 5 days later, they locked down absolutely everything. And so, yes, I was literally living out of my suitcase because all of my stuff was in storage. But I was not obviously specific with the universe. Like, I didn't keep reiterating the side of things where I would be in a different country, where I would be traveling all of the time. I just kept saying, yes, I'm going to live out of a suitcase. And then quite literally for 2 months, I really did live out of a suitcase while I was staying with my family.
Wow.
Because lockdown happened. I couldn't go anywhere. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we do have to be careful.
Yeah, that is scary. Wow. Wow.
So yes, be very specific. Make sure when you're talking about things and you're bringing things in, always use the full term. So if you do want to travel and live out of a suitcase, that's absolutely fine. But as with my experience, I wish I'd have always been saying, yeah, I can't wait to travel around Europe and live out of my suitcase. Like, I should have been saying both together consistently.
Yeah, it's you got to be specific as well. You know, and what else do you do? You know, because I'm a musician as well, entrepreneur. How long have you been entrepreneur for?
Yeah, there's a really interesting word that we use nowadays. I would just interesting. I have been living this life for quite a few years now. I originally was working in the corporate world and spent more than a decade there. And that was really the first kind of phase of my life, shall we say, my grown up life. And did that for, yeah, more than a decade and got some really good professional experience there and had, you know, definitely a journey within that itself. And it taught me a lot. And then discovered that, you know, I felt as though I had outgrown that space and that I needed to do something else. I wanted to be more in alignment with my purpose. I wanted to really deeply help people. And so for me, it's really just been like a journey of unfolding. So day by day, more and more things would just unfold kind of naturally as I focused more on being of service, as I focused on more of connecting with my purpose and doing that. So it's been going for, gosh, quite a few years. Let me think. About 4 or 5 years now. And I love it. It's absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what, I think it's even longer than that, probably. It's been so long now, I don't remember any other life. But my focuses are really around writing, creating books. So I'm very nearly finished my second book. I already have one book that's out there in the world. Very much finishing up the second book and getting ready to write the third. Coaching and working with people to help them raise their self-worth and really discover who they are, who they want to be, who they want to become. And creating, you know, courses and material and workshops and sessions so that I can share and deliver that guidance. So those are really my main things in terms of the business and the kind of things that I do. Working with all kinds of people, so even including children as well. And I absolutely love it. And I think that it's an amazing path to be on when, you know, you can just say, okay, I'm going to connect with the things that I love and make a career out of that. I think that is just such a wonderful thing. And I would definitely encourage other people to do that. And if there's anybody that's at that beginning journey, it can be really scary when you're taking the first kind of steps towards that. But the more that you stay consistent and just say, okay, I'm just going to keep going and going towards this idea of I'm going to be living with my purpose, I'm going to be living with alignment, the more that you take those steps to move forward towards that, the more that the universe will unfold the right opportunities for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's very interesting as well, what you've just shared, and good on you for that. too. That's everyone has a journey. I mean, Einstein had a journey as well, and Henry Ford, Leonardo da Vinci built something. People told them they couldn't do it, but they did it. I think when you have a passion for what you love, you just keep on you'll keep persisting with it, for being.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that persistence and drive and staying true to the path no matter what is really important. And I think that a lot of times we get caught up on what we don't have, and we can't see what we do have, and we can't see, sometimes we really want the end result now. We can't wait for that delayed gratification. We need
Mm,
instant gratification in this life. And I definitely think the path of, working towards your purpose or being an entrepreneur, owning a business, that is, as with any like daily practice that we would do around gratitude or meditation, or working with a new habit or skill, it's a daily practice. You put your work in daily towards that desire, towards that end vision that you have, and you just keep going, and it's persistent, and you do it on the days that you don't want to do it. And that's why for me, I keep a record. So like I have a monthly record of all the positive things that have happened throughout my month.
mm,
And as they happen throughout the month, I write them down and I keep them in a space where I can see them and refer to them. And then, at the end of each quarter, at the end of like mid-year, actually, that's one of the things I'm going to be doing later today. I'm going to be meeting up with one of the, I guess I have like a business accountability partner. And so we meet and talk about our businesses and how things are going. So I'm actually literally going to be reviewing the last 6 months with him later on today and going over all the positive things that have happened. And when you do that, it just reminds you and inspires you of all the reasons why you can keep going. And I think that's how you create that drive and that persistence, being reminded of all the positive things and letting go of, sometimes things aren't going to go our way, and that's okay.
mm. Yeah, exactly. And what I love about podcasting is I get to talk to a lot of people over the other side of the world. Being an entrepreneur can be a very lonely journey, so that's what keeps me, yeah, networking too. And COVID-19, because the Sydney's back in a lockdown now, and can't go to any networking events, and it's not the same doing them on Zoom.
Yeah, there's definitely that need for human touch,
Mm,
human interaction that we can't quite get the same way as on video. And I think that it's really, really important. So it's definitely interesting times right now with everything that's happening in the world. I do think that sometimes as well, the running your own business can be lonely, but I think it's really important to have and build the right kind of team around you if you can. So even if that means just working with, a VA or a virtual assistant that's going to be able to help run a few admin tasks for you and start to understand the dynamic of what it is that you're creating,
mm, mhm.
having people that can assist with, content creation or design or things like this. And so I think that that's really important, and I think it's a really necessary step as well, because it allows you to do the things that you're really, really great at. But it also allows the people that come in and work for you to also do the things that they're great at. They can take some of those tasks away from you, so you can keep focused on the main tasks, and they can take some of the other smaller things that they enjoy doing, and it's kind of a win-win for everybody. So I think it's important to build a team, even if it's a small team, and even if it's just working with virtual assistants, etc., and having them for a couple of hours a month, even something like that. If you're just starting out, it's really good to be able to share that business vision with other people as well.
Yeah, you got to have a vision, definitely. You got to have I'm a very visionary person, for being. You remember David Beckham in the 2000? I think it was it 2003 World Cup? Had his name on his boots. I always think, what if I could have my name on clothes or my mouse? That'd be so cool. The Stephen
Yeah,
Shiels radio show.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'd love.
Well,
Vision.
vision. That's amazing, right?
Mm. You thought about doing that?
A podcast.
Yeah, or put your name on a clothing brand.
You know, I'm not one that's big for really. I mean, I think clothing and the way that we dress is definitely a way that we can express ourselves, and that's something I've been looking into more and more
Mm.
recently, I guess, because coming from a corporate world, a lot of things were, you know, dressing in a certain way, and I don't have to do that anymore. But some part of my persona was still stuck in that mode of like thinking that I needed to dress more conservative or boring or this kind of stuff, professional. And the job that I have actually is amazing because I can spend my time expressing myself. So I can do that through clothing as well, which is great. So I've been looking into that a lot more to, you know, figure out, okay, well, if I was going to dress in a way that truly expressed like who I was as an individual, what would that look like? And so I've been playing with that a lot recently, which is really, really fun to do. Putting my name on clothing brands, I'm not sure that that's necessarily in my vision.
Mhm.
I think probably I can let somebody else do that. Maybe we let you do that for
Mhm.
us, and I can leave that down to you. But I'm sure that there are other things that I will come across in terms of there's many other things that I want to get out there.
Mm.
Putting my name on clothing brand maybe is just not one of them though.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting, you know. And the corporate world, and you had enough, did you, of the corporate world?
I just got to the point where I think, you know, many things come to completion.
Mm.
And it was clear to me that I had come to a place where my journey was complete there. And so that was how it felt. And then I took the action upon that.
Interesting. Very interesting what you've done. Yeah, because I've seen a couple of your live streams on Insight Tiber too, and they're pretty good. Keep on
Thank you.
doing them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, just keep at it. I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's my passion. So, you know, I will be there.
Mm.
I'm usually, for the people that are listening, I'm usually on Insight Timer, usually every Friday. The last month or so I've reduced that just because I've been taking some holiday and taking some time for self-care,
Mhm.
but usually I'm there every Friday, so
Yeah.
I will see you over there.
Mm. And so what's happening with you? What are you going to be working on this year for the rest of 2021?
Yeah, great question. I literally have just finished up, so literally just finished up the creation and the launch of my newest course, which is called Healing the Abandonment Wounds.
Mhm.
So just literally coming out of letting that go live, which was literally just Friday gone, so not even a whole week yet. And that's really exciting. I spent a lot of time dedicated to putting that together, creating that, making it the best possible course that it could be. And so a lot of love, dedication, time, energy has gone into that. So at the moment, I don't have the next thing planned out. I'm actually giving myself a little bit of time off, mostly just so that I can focus on the students that are in the course so that I can really give them the time and attention that they need to help them through their journey. So the course information is out there and anybody can go in and take it, download it from Insight Timer. But now I'm there to really just support people in their journey, answer questions. I'll be running some live sessions on that. So the focus for at least the next couple of months is really around how I support people that are going through that journey and going through that course to the best of my ability, and taking care of the current clients that I've got, and taking some time for myself now that that is out there in the world. And then more than likely come September, October, I will be releasing something new.
Mm.
Um, but for now, it's hush hush. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to share what that is right now,
I
but
look
there's
forward to
definitely
that.
coming. Yes.
Yeah. No, I really do look forward to you releasing some new work too on Insight Timer.
Amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, what's your background? You go to university? Because I went to university as well.
Uh-huh. Actually, no, I did not go to university. I started in the corporate world when I was 16, actually. So
Wow.
very young to start there. So I think that's why as well my journey felt completion, after a decade, you really become a different person. I essentially grew up in that space. And so during that time I was learning, who am I? Who do I want to become? And that's kind of, I guess, why that came to completion when it did. I didn't go to university. It didn't feel like the right option for me. At the time, I had a different focus in my life around what it was that I wanted to do. And for me, that felt like getting straight onto the getting straight into work and getting straight into building some kind of a career for myself.
Mm.
I was not a lover of school and really didn't enjoy my time there. Spent most of my years in school really just wanting to find a way to get out of it. So, yeah, so for me, school was not something that I found enjoyable. So, as soon as I could leave, I was just ready to be done with it and out of there. But I think that when it comes to university and studying and things like that, now having more perspective even on my own situation and life, and I guess giving guidance to others that might be in that position, it's really important to know what you love, what you enjoy, because now I can spend hours studying. I could spend absolutely hours studying, learning about all these different kinds of healing modalities that are out there, different kinds of tools, different kinds of concepts, different kinds of methods, etc. And I absolutely adore that. And something I've been working with recently is called transactional analysis. And I really love that practice. And I'm looking at learning that a lot more deeply for myself. And then so that I can then go on and share that with others and help them with this idea, this concept of transactional analysis. So I think it's about knowing what you enjoy and what you love, and then going to university to do something that you genuinely really, really enjoy and love, because then it's not going to feel like work. It's just going to feel like something that you love doing, that you would be
Mm.
doing whether you're at university or not, whether you're in some kind of a course or not.
Yeah, because at university I was never taught to network or go and prospect. I wasn't taught that actually. To go, it's quite scary when you finish a 4-year bachelor's degree and then you come out into the big wide world. It's like, where do I go? Even
Yeah.
school was the same. I never enjoyed school, Fabienne. I wasn't the best student at school either. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always laugh because my mum, she was great because she was very accepting of who I was, and that I was, I was different to my sisters. And she was just, very accepting of me. Okay, that's what she wants to do, that's okay, she's an individual, she gets to choose her own path. But I always say, if I had have actually applied myself more at school, I probably would have come out with like all grade A's.
Mm.
But I think I came out, I was just like, kind of middle range. I just got like C's. But I always laugh and I'm like, wow, if I just applied myself like this much, I would have done better. But in order for us to do that, we have to have the understanding, the awareness, and we also have to want to do it, don't we?
Mm.
So we don't know, we can only do better when we know better.
I was just happy to get scraped by with a 50. That was it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just get out of there.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds like you're on the right path now, Stephen,
Mm-hmm.
doing things that you love.
Mm. And are you in the future? A lot for me as my company grows and your company grows as well. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Fabienne? Fabienne.
Fabienne, yeah.
Fabienne.
That's a
Sorry.
really good question. 5 years' time, where do I see myself? Well, I we'll have at least 4 books published.
Nice,
We'll have
Fabienne. That's
more
cool.
about to come out this year.
Mm.
Then I should have another 2 by the time we hit that 5-year mark.
Mm.
I'm going to have my own online course. So something that is separate from Insight Timer. I'm going to have my own kind of like really in-depth online course where there's going to be hours upon hours of content that you can go in and look at, discover. My coaching business, well, people will know that if they want to work with someone for self-worth, they will know my name and know exactly that I would be the right person, the right fit for them.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately helping people heal and helping people to grow. So let's say in 5 years time I will have helped 100,000 people to grow and heal and raise their self-worth.
Wow, that's so cool, Fabienne. Wow, amazing. Nice vision. Now, look, I see Shiels Productions, getting a YouTube Creator Award as well. So I'm really pushing YouTube, earning a living from YouTube, earning a living from podcasting, having a marketing team, an SEO team, having my website custom built, because I built my website with GoDaddy as well. And, really just expanding, worldwide. That's how I see. Yeah,
That sounds great. Amazing goals to be pushing for.
it's possible.
Yeah. Everything and anything is possible. All we have to do is put the work in.
There's other things too, tarot cards. I've been trying like these tarot cards on Insight Timer, but every time I do, I just feel sick after. I don't know why.
That's really interesting. I'm not one that is into tarot cards. I don't really know too much about them. But that's a really interesting observation that you've made.
I can tell you some stories about past relationships for me. Like in the past, when I tried to sort of rush it a bit, I'd end up getting sick. It was weird. I couldn't explain it.
That's really strange.
Maybe it was a sign it wasn't the right person.
I think that the body definitely gives us signals. There's a really amazing book that's called When the Body Says No, and it's by Dr. Gabor Mate, and it's a really wonderful book, and it just explains how when we repress or suppress our emotions, the body gives us the body is then used as an outlet for those suppressed emotions, and so the body will tell a story. So we may, appear to be totally fine, but the body may say something totally different. And this is what can lead to great illness. And so it's really, really great read to just understand the connection between what happens when we're suppressing emotions and then how that shows up in the body and in disease as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. The body can tell us that's if we listen to it or not.
Absolutely. So when you're feeling sick, then it's probably something to be listening to. Maybe you're feeling that something's not right here.
True. But is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I just think that, as I mentioned, I'm very excited because my newest course, Healing the Abandonment Wound, has just launched. So anybody that is curious about what that is, you can go ahead and check that out on Insight Timer. As Stephen's mentioned, I also have the course on learning how to love. So if you're curious and maybe looking for a partner or looking to find self-love, looking to maybe improve a relationship, I would definitely recommend checking that course out as well. And come say hi and find me on one of my live sessions, and we can connect that way. But otherwise, it's been a real pleasure being here today, Stephen. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome, Fabienne. And where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, and I do give regular updates. So I live on the beautiful island of Ibiza, and so I do a lot of cool stories of different hikes that I'm going on and some really amazing views. So if you do love beach, ocean, sea, etc., then definitely worth giving me a follow on Instagram. My handle is Fabienne Sandoval, so just my name, and I should pop up. You can find me there,
Yeah,
or on my
well,
fabiennesandoval.com.
thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. Also, new podcasts are out every Friday, so please subscribe and turn on notifications. Podcasts are out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, too, please share any of your favourite episodes on your social media. This will help my show reach more people. And yeah, bye for now.